Welcome to my YouTube Neov Story channel. Our story officially begins. I hope you like it. I pleaded with my boyfriend 100 times, and he finally agreed to accompany me to see my seriously ill mother. But until my mother passed away with regret, we never saw his figure. His mother, however, posted photos of a physical examination. The son was worried about our health and took us for a checkup. Looking at the physical examination report from the same hospital, I called to question him, but he turned the blame on me. I am filial. If you can't stand it, just break up. This is the 101st time he has mentioned breaking up. This time, I nodded, but he collapsed. It was late at night after dealing with my mother's funeral, and I dragged my exhausted body back to the rental house. By this time, 3 days had passed since I asked Ji Mingfan to accompany me home to see my mother. This is not the first time Ji Mingfan has ignored or disregarded my needs. But this time he went further. I didn't turn on the light, sat at the door and silently hugged myself, my mind in chaos. Mom, was my choice really wrong? A gust of cold air came, and I felt the world spinning in front of me. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. I quietly looked at Ji Mingfan's sleeping face by the hospital bed, and the anger of being stood up before was slightly relieved. But every time I thought about it, after my mother passed away, I no longer had a mother. My heart seemed to be squeezed by someone, and my nose was sour. I pulled the quilt and buried myself in it. It was then that Ji Mingfan woke up. He looked at my expression and slowly hugged me. I buried my head in his neck and tears flowed silently. At this moment, the perfume on him suddenly rushed into my nostrils, and I never use perfume. Ji Mingfan, do you know? My mother has passed away. I looked into his eyes, and my fingernails sank deep into the palm, causing a sting. But he frowned and said impatiently, "It's just that I didn't reply to your message in time. Didn't accompany you home. Is it necessary to be so angry? Your mother's death is not caused by me." A basin of cold water extinguished the warmth in my heart before, and I was cold all over, unable to speak. Ji Mingfan. My mother just passed away, and you say such a thing. Did her death caused by me? I have also paid for your medical expenses. Do you keep holding on to one or two words interestingly? Ji Mingfan did pay for my medical expenses indeed, but it was with the money from our joint savings, and he not only paid for the medical expenses but also bought a new mobile phone for himself. I was so angry that I was trembling all over, and my body that had just fainted was soft and weak, and I couldn't slap him. Seeing me like this, Ji Mingfan still had a conscience and came to help me up. Then, taking advantage of my lack of strength, he snatched my mobile phone. Your mother's funeral didn't receive a lot of money, quickly transfer it to the joint savings, I have a use, he said, trying to unlock my mobile phone. Unfortunately, he didn't know that he took my mother's mobile phone by mistake, and the password was wrong several times in a row. Ji Mingfan was angry. "Shen Zhaoyang, you really have it, you went back to your hometown and the password was changed. Tell me, did you go to see your mother or to see a wild man?" I watched him try the password continuously, afraid that my mother's mobile phone would be locked. This mobile phone is full of my mother's memories, and it is the proof of my mother's existence in this world. Ji Mingfan, don't press it, the mobile phone will be locked soon, give me the mobile phone. I was so anxious that I shouted hysterically. The more anxious I was, the more sure Ji Mingfan was that I had a ghost in my heart, and his hands moved faster. Seeing the mobile phone beep an alarm, I panicked, and I rushed at Ji Mingfan. The needle on my wrist was pulled out, and a burst of blood fell on me. I fell to the ground with a thud, with my mobile phone and myself. I didn't have time to check myself. I quickly picked up the mobile phone, made sure it hadn't been completely locked, and let out a long sigh. Ji Mingfan's face changed, and he was about to say something when the ward door opened. My good friend Jiang Li came in with the medicine, saw me fall to the ground, and quickly helped me up, and took out a few tissues to wipe the blood on my body. I said, "Ji Mingfan, I just went to get the medicine, and you can see people fall while watching for a while, I shouldn't have called you." Ji Mingfan shrugged and said with a face of indifference, "You still scold me, I'm very busy, and it's very good to come to help you." I laughed at myself. It turned out that Jiang Li sent me to the hospital, and it was Jiang Li who found me fainting. Everything was my own wishful thinking. Ji Mingfan, or that good person who is enthusiastic to everyone and only morally kidnaps me. All my love for him, the filter was broken at this moment. But I still want to give him, and also give our feelings one last chance. Ji Mingfan, What were you doing when I went home to accompany my mother? But he seemed like a cat that had stepped on his feet. What do you care about me? Are you looking for trouble again? I held back the tears that were about to flow out, closed my eyes, and gently said, break up. Ji Mingfan chuckled, here we go again, breaking up every day, not counting on WeChat, but also in person, as if anyone cares about you. Your mother is dead, and you only have me left, and you dare to mention breaking up? He finished his complaints, slammed the door and left. I heard the bang, and the past events made me fall into memories like a lantern. I met Ji Mingfan in college. The year I met him, I was 17 years old, just in college. At that time, my father's company had just gone bankrupt, and he couldn't stand the blow and committed suicide, and my mother aged a lot overnight. In order to maintain our daily life, my mother had to lower her status and go out to look for work. Watching my mother's busy and tired figure, my heart seemed to be bleeding. So I went to school while working as a waiter in a restaurant outside the school to earn money. It was also at that time that I met Ji Mingfan, who was also working part-time. He would stand up for me when I was troubled by the guests, and would help me bear the pressure of work when I was tired. He gave me a lot of help, but my mother was not as noble as before, and the pressure of life made her temper more and more irritable. She has complained more than once that my father died too early and left her alone, and my spirit has become more and more fragile at this time. I suffered from severe depression, and I started to be afraid of contacting people and afraid of other people's eyes. At this time, Ji Mingfan saw that something was wrong with me, and it was his redemption that made me out of that dark time. But I never thought that the teenager who was sunny and pulled me out of the mud would push me in again. Jiang Li wiped my tears and comforted me, don't be sad, men, the old ones don't go, the new ones don't come. While talking, the nurse came in with the bill, 7 beds, it's time to pay. How could it be? Jiang Li grabbed the bill, I just paid the fee half an hour ago. How can you add medical items privately? We have been lying in the bed, when did we need a physical examination? Jiang Li was indignant and seemed to mean that if the nurse didn't give an explanation, she would go to the health bureau. The nurse was confused. Just now, the man who accompanied the bed added it, you see, there is the name and ID number of the examinee on it. Zhang Wan? I was stunned for a moment, and my chaotic mind finally remembered that Zhang Wan was Ji Mingfan's mother. Could it be that his mother is also sick? Thinking of what Ji Mingfan just said when he grabbed my mobile phone, I have a use. I thought, could it be that Ji Mingfan's mother is also sick, and that's why he is so irritable? I quickly called Ji Mingfan. As soon as the phone was connected, I heard a loud voice coming from the other end of the phone, son, this physical examination item is really cumbersome, and I don't have any pain, no need to spend that money. Mom, you don't know, Shen Xiaoyang's mother was a minor illness that became a serious illness, early examination and early treatment, don't worry, anyway, Shen Xiaoyang can earn. Jiang Li couldn't bear to listen to it, grabbed the phone and scolded, Ji Mingfan, are you human? Shen Xiaoyang's mother just had an accident, and you took your mother to have a physical examination, and even put the account on Shen Xiaoyang, the toad in the sewer is not as bad as you. Ji Mingfan was stunned, then raised his voice, what's the matter? She doesn't transfer money to me, and she doesn't allow me to hang her account? Her mother is sick and dead, can't I take my mother to have a physical examination? Hot blood surged, and I felt dizzy, as if I had fallen into an ice cave, cold and shivering. I was shivering all over, trembling fingers took the phone. All the emotions that I had been holding back were finally unable to help but vent. Ji Mingfan, take care of yourself. Ji Mingfan said at the age of 27 that he would always be Shen Xiaoyang's support. But 27-year-old Ji Mingfan personally overthrew everything. After leaving the hospital, I returned to the rental house and sent a message to the landlord saying I wanted to withdraw the rent. I heard the sound of water coming from the bathroom. I leaned against the door and said softly, Ji Mingfan, after packing up. At this time, the bathroom door opened a crack. The dense white air rushed towards me, and the strong fragrance of the shower gel filled my nostrils. The girl in front of me, with wet hair draped over her shoulders, looked soft and beautiful. At this time, Ji Mingfan broke in, and before he could speak, he was interrupted by the girl in front of him. My room's shower is broken, Mingfan said, it's missing a part, let me wait for him to buy it back and fix it again, I have a live broadcast coming up, so I just used your bathroom. And Minggu is very enthusiastic, usually often helps me do things. Zhao Yang, I just went to help, it's not what you think. Ji Mingfan took my hand and wanted to explain. But at this moment, the scene in front of me made me feel nauseous. I shook off his hand. Ji Mingfan, what else do you have to explain now? Are all the things that have happened now fake? Ji Mingfan explained dryly, I'm just helping out. She's a girl, living alone is so helpless. The girl skillfully picked up the towel, covered herself with her back, combed her hair, and looked pure and full of desire. Even Ji Mingfan, who was in a hurry to explain to me, was stunned, and his hand holding mine unconsciously loosened. His eyes seemed to be on the girl, and his saliva was about to flow out. Just now there was fog in the bathroom, and I could only see the outline of a girl. Now the bathroom door is wide open, and the fog has dissipated, and I can see clearly that this girl is the beautiful anchor that Ji Mingfan rewarded, called Hua Hua's little life. I was furious and angry. I used all my strength to slap Ji Mingfan in the face. You repair offline, reward online. Is there anything you can't help with? Why don't you just give her a child, so she won't be lonely in her old age? In a moment, Ji Mingfan's face swelled up. Hua Hua exclaimed, pushed me away and ran to Ji Mingfan's side, rubbing his face with great distress. It's red, Minggu must be very painful. She is 20 centimeters shorter than Ji Mingfan, and now she stands on tiptoe to rub Ji Mingfan's face. Just after taking a bath, her feet slipped, and she actually fell into Ji Mingfan's arms. Ji Mingfan reached out and hugged her, and the two softnesses were squeezed on his chest. His ears were visibly red, and Hua Hua also shyly stepped back, biting her lips with her teeth, looking like a young girl in love. I said, Shen Zhaoyang, you have enough. Our two things don't have to involve others. If you have any anger, come at me. I was almost angry and laughed. I slapped him and he didn't get angry. I scolded him and he didn't react. Now it's just Hua Hua accidentally fell and didn't fall, and he actually got angry with me. Hua Hua hurriedly waved her hand. It's not Miss Shen's business. It's all my own fault for not standing firmly. You don't have to quarrel for me. Ji Mingfan stopped Hua Hua and said, don't pay attention to her. She just lost her mother, and she is looking for someone to vent now. Boom, my mind exploded instantly. In front of me, Ji Mingfan's lips were moving, still comforting Hua Hua, but my ears were buzzing, and I couldn't hear anything. A surge of hot blood lingered in my limbs, and finally, I swung the stool and smashed it on Ji Mingfan's head. Ji Mingfan turned to block in front of Hua Hua, and when he came to his senses, he pushed Hua Hua away and grabbed the leg of the stool and swung it hard. The stool fell out of his hand and smashed the glass partition in the bathroom. I screamed and jumped on Ji Mingfan, slapping him crazily, but Ji Mingfan was a man after all, and in a few moves, he pressed me under him and began to fight back. He grabbed my hair and smashed it on the floor, shouting, I give you face, right? Your mother is dead. What's the difference between having a mother and not having a mother? If you don't apologize to Hua Hua today, I'll beat you until you can't find your mother's memorial tablet. My eyes were red, and my mouth was full of the taste of iron. I lost all reason, and there was only one sentence in my mind, I want to kill Ji Mingfan. I fought with Ji Mingfan crazily, and the whole room was in chaos, with furniture and cups scattered all over the floor, until we were both exhausted. Hua Hua has returned to her own home, perhaps afraid of causing trouble. Ji Mingfan and I sat in the corners of the room, each taking a breath. Ji Mingfan, let's break up. I will list the bill, and the money in the joint account will be divided according to the proportion. Ji Mingfan spat, rubbed his scratched face, and said viciously, do you still want to break up? If you dare to break up, I will go to your company and make a fuss, and you will be famous. I looked at Ji Mingfan, whose eyes were about to split, and in front of his complacent gaze, I slowly bent my knees. Then, I picked up the mobile phone that had just fallen. Break up. If you are not afraid of making trouble and getting caught, then go to the company to make a fuss, and it's best to do some kidnapping and coercion, so that there is a sentence. In addition, remember to transfer the car under your name to me. It was a very cheap Volkswagen, which cost less than 100,000 yuan, and I bought it with my year-end bonus 3 years ago. That year, I originally planned to use the money to have a full body checkup for my mother, but the money arrived in the joint account the next day, and Ji Mingfan came back with this car. He hugged me excitedly, and said, where do you want to go in the future? I will take you there. At that time, my mother was already sick, but the small hospital only said it was a cyst, and it would be fine to remove it. I was not at ease, and I made an appointment for a specialist consultation, and this money was for the medical expenses. I accused Ji Mingfan angrily. You know I want to use this money to see a doctor for my mother, how can you still buy a car? Sell it quickly. Ji Mingfan coaxed me with sweet words. Baby, this is to give you a surprise? I bought the car for your mother's convenience in seeing a doctor. Do you remember the last time you took your mother for a checkup? It rained on the way and you couldn't get a taxi, you gave the umbrella to your mother, and you got caught in the rain, and you had a fever that day, it was so distressing. This reason was impeccable, Ji Mingfan said sincerely, and I was also soft-hearted. I thought it was just a check, and it would be okay to do it the next year. But when the check was done the next year, the experts said that my mother's illness was already in the advanced stage. I still remember that experts' regret. If it had come half a year earlier, it would have been good. That day, I cried for a long time. I squatted on the ground crying and shouting, Ji Mingfan, it's all you. If it weren't for you buying a car, how could my mother have something? Ji Mingfan was non-committal. I bought the car for you too, don't you ride it? I ride, but only once. This car only appeared for a short month and was taken back to my hometown by Ji Mingfan's mother on the grounds that my brother needed a car to run Didi in my hometown. My year-end bonus, the opportunity for my mother's physical examination in exchange for the car, has become all for me in Ji Mingfan's mouth. Ji Mingfan was stunned, probably didn't expect me to be so ruthless. After a brief shock, he chuckled. Shen Zhaoyang, you should learn some law. Who is the car registered to is who? Do you think it's real estate? It's still about the contributor. His sarcasm on his face was too obvious, so obvious that I felt that the past few years were my blindness. You're right, I don't want the car anymore. Ji Mingfan smiled triumphantly, about to speak, and I continued. The joint account is in your name, I will sue to get the money back over the years, including the 100,000 yuan for the car. Ji Mingfan was stunned, he obviously didn't expect this move from me. I gave him money is real gold and silver, and he spent it on small things like buying vegetables and water and electricity, and it is difficult to distinguish who used it and who didn't. If you really sue, I'm afraid his contributions will only be recognized as voluntary spending. Ji Mingfan's face turned white, and he stammered to take my hand. Baby, I was just angry before, I love you so much, how could I break up with you? Don't worry, I will immediately block that Hua Hua and never contact her again. If you still don't believe me, let's move to the Blue Moon community, so we won't meet Hua Hua. He is good at calculating. Blue Moon community is an upscale large flat community. The conditions are much better than where we live now. He seems to be humble and reconciled on the surface, but he is still calculating in his heart. Seeing that I didn't speak, he continued to increase the chips. How about I tell my mom to bring the car back? If you think the car has been driven, let's change a new one, okay? No way. Ji Mingfan still hasn't realized that Hua Hua, the car, his mother, are just a bit of the dregs in our contradictions. The real contradiction between us is that he is selfish and always wants to calculate me, and he always wants to cheat. Hua Hua is not the only one, she just happened to be met by Ji Mingfan. Without Hua Hua, there are still small grass, big trees, and countless beautiful women who can make Ji Mingfan feel tempted. That night, I moved away despite the bruises all over my body. The bruises all over my body need to see a doctor, and it's not good to go to work with a bruised face. I asked for a few days off from the company and planned to tidy up my mood. However, half an hour after my leave message was sent, I received a notice of dismissal. I asked the manager, my performance is obviously the best, just because I ask for leave, I will be dismissed. The manager sent a live broadcast link very tactfully. The live broadcast room is called Hua Hua's Little Life. In the video, Hua Hua is in tears, telling her male best friend how to pay affection in vain, how to be let down, and she raises her mobile phone to show the injured face of her male best friend from time to time. That tearful performance is almost like an Oscar. She vaguely mentioned the information of the unfaithful woman, and the items were almost the same as reporting my ID number. Ji Mingfan sent a message, and he couldn't hide the complacency in his tone. Shen Zhaoyang, you were fired. I let you kneel down and apologize before, but you refused. Now you have to kneel down and apologize to me, and also take out a loan of 500,000 yuan to give me. Remember to note the gift. I was so angry that I trembled all over, and with trembling hands, I clicked on the complaint in the live broadcast room. After a while, I calmed down, forced myself to calm down, uploaded my ID photo on the platform, and contacted the cyber police. I really didn't expect that Ji Ming Fan would not only suck blood but also destroy me. We have been in love for several years, it's a joke. I lay on the bed of the capsule hotel, staring at the ceiling motionless, just contacted several landlords, originally talked well, but when it came to signing the contract and seeing my ID, they wouldn't sign. Also said that they would not rent to such a ruthless person. When I was in love, my money was put together with Ji Ming Fan's money to form a joint account. Now that I have no job, I don't have much money, and I can't stay in the capsule hotel all the time. If the previous lawsuit for money was angry words, now I am determined to sue. Fortunately, Jiang Li is a lawyer and can temporarily exempt my lawyer's fee. The live broadcast is still going on, and the number of people in Huahua's live broadcast room is increasing. Many people are indignant about her story, but there are a few netizens who start to question. I am a medical professional, and the scratches on this man's face seem to be self-inflicted. Why do I feel that the nickname of the person mentioned by Huahua is a bit familiar? Isn't it the top reward brother who was rewarded last time? This statement caused a sensation, and many people didn't pay attention at first, but now everyone's attention is focused on the mobile phone interface held by Huahua, and some people with sharp eyes found that there was an accepted red envelope above the WeChat chat record displayed by Huahua. The direction of the live broadcast room has changed. This is to take money to do things. The little sister is really miserable. Huahua panicked and quickly swore that she absolutely did not lie, and said that she would let the victim Ji Ming Fan appear in the live broadcast room now. She took out her mobile phone and clicked a few times, and 3 minutes later, Ji Ming Fan really appeared, complaining about the camera, accusing me of being unfaithful and him of being affectionate. But he is not a host after all, and he doesn't know which sentence should be said and which sentence should not be said. After a while, the live broadcast room didn't buy it. You just said she didn't let you use the joint account to buy a car. Isn't the joint account yours? Why can you buy it, and she can't object? Your mother's physical examination, you hang your girlfriend's account. 666. Ji Ming Fan panicked, the more wrong, and finally he asked Huahua. What gestures are you making? Don't you want to be out of it? If it weren't for you taking a bath at my house and being seen by Shen Zhaoyang, could Shen Zhaoyang break up with me? As soon as this was said, it caused a sensation, and the whole live broadcast room was boiling. Jiang Li looked at the mobile phone and laughed into a flower. The bad guys have their own bad guys to grind, I think. Let's sue even this Huahua, and let her compensate. But I couldn't laugh. The more stupid Ji Ming Fan is, the more it proves how blind I was in the past. I looked at this increasingly farcical live broadcast, and was about to turn it off when my mobile phone suddenly rang. It was a strange number. I picked it up and found out that it was Ji Ming Fan's mother, Zhang Wan. As soon as the phone was connected, Zhang Wan scolded me, "Little cute, if it weren't for you to earn a few stinky money, I would never let my son be with you, a cute person who has a mother but no mother to raise. Just because you bought a car with your money, you also bought water soldiers in the live broadcast room. I tell you, if Ming Fan has any accident, I will definitely dig your ancestral grave." Zhang Wan has scolded me like this for the first time, and for this reason, Ji Ming Fan specifically instructed me not to save his mother's phone number, and I can also block WeChat, and he will handle things if there is something. At that time, I was still moved. I didn't expect that Ji Ming Fan was afraid that if I found out his mother was a little cutie, it would affect my willingness to financially support him, which is why he didn't tell me. I sneered and scolded on the phone, "Old woman, are you comfortable driving that car? I have to say, you old woman doesn't do anything, just let your sons sell their butts to support you, it's quite capable. What, were you a brothel keeper in your last life? I heard that your younger son found a rich boyfriend, why didn't you ask for your advice on bed skills?" I scolded as dirty as I could, throwing all the rights, benevolence, and faith to the back of my mind, and after scolding fiercely, I hung up the phone without waiting for the other side to speak. Jiang Li was shocked and asked me, "Are you not afraid that Ji Ming Fan will come to trouble you?" "I'm still afraid that he won't come. If he comes, I can settle the account with him, and if he starts again, there is surveillance here, and I can sue him for violent attack." Ji Ming Fan really came. In the morning, Jiang Li almost jumped up in fright when she opened the door. "Zhao Yang, I was wrong, can you forgive me? Can we live a good life together?" Originally, after the live broadcast last night, the cyber police found Huahua, who was afraid of causing trouble and pushed everything onto Ji Mingfan. Ji Mingfan was detained at the police station for questioning and was only released this morning. His salary is only 3,000 yuan, but he can wear famous brands and wear famous watches. When the police questioned the source of his funds, he could only honestly admit that all of these were bought with the money from the joint account, and most of the money in the joint account was mine. He finally realized that over the years, his life has been entirely dependent on me. Zhao Yang, I regret it now, and I only know that you have been so good to me. I sneered, took out my phone, and played the recording I just had with Zhang Wan. With each little cute not looking up to you, Ji Mingfan's face became uglier and uglier, and in the end, it almost turned into a liver color. He stammered and explained, my mom didn't mean it. Really? Really? Zhao Yang, believe me, to tell you the truth, my mom has a problem in her head, otherwise, why would my dad always beat her? She morally kidnaps me every day, that car you know, it's all my mom's idea, if it weren't for my mom forcing me, I would never touch your money. And my younger brother, he is simply a NEET, he took my car and it's not enough, and now he wants to live with me here, saying that the salary here is high. Zhao Yang, every word I say is true. I nodded, took out my phone, and sent the recording to Huahua. That night, Huahua's live broadcast room exploded again. This time, Huahua firmly stated that she was deceived by her male best friend, who was a scum man who cheated on his girlfriend and scolded his mother. Just like last time, she vaguely mentioned the protagonist's information, and all the items pointed to Ji Mingfan. Ji Mingfan was luckier than me, he was not fired, but his company went bankrupt. When I saw Ji Mingfan again, he was driving the car I bought with my money and stopped me, and an old woman got out of the car, it was Ji Mingfan's mother. Zhang Wan changed her attitude and smiled at me, holding my hand and apologizing continuously, good child, it was Auntie who was wrong before, don't blame Auntie, okay? Your mother is not here anymore, let Auntie be your mother, okay? Ji Mingfan took out the vehicle registration certificate, we will go to the transfer later, and transfer this car to you, Zhao Yang, let the past be the past, believe me, I will be good to you. I gently took out my hand, stepped back, and kept a distance from them. There is no need for you to be my mother, Ji Mingfan said, my mother is already dead. As for the car, you will wait for the lawyer to contact. I turned around and wanted to leave, and Ji Mingfan stopped my way, Zhao Yang, I really regret it, there is only you in this world who is really good to me, can we go back to the past? I didn't give him a look and continued to avoid him and move forward. I was surprised to turn my head and saw a red mark on Ji Mingfan's face. You can hit me and scold me, can you give me a chance to chase you again? After he finished speaking, he slapped himself a few more times. Zhang Wan stood by, seemingly distressed, but did not dare to stop, and could only look at me eagerly, begging me to stop. Ji Mingfan slapped himself tired and found that I was looking at him with interest, but I didn't mean to stop at all, and he panicked. Zhao Yang, don't you feel distressed? Once when he was cooking and cut his finger, I was distressed and shed tears. I shook my head. Ji Mingfan collapsed, shaking my shoulders and shouting, no way, no way. I used to break a little bit of skin, and you were distressed. How come I hit myself so many times today, and you don't feel anything at all? I know, you still resent me, and you are acting with me, right? It doesn't matter, as long as you are willing to forgive me, I will cooperate with you for as long as you act. I laughed, we have been together for so many years, I didn't expect that Ji Mingfan still has delusions. Zhang Wan was afraid that I would say something to stimulate Ji Mingfan, and quickly came forward to say good things, Xiao Shen, it was all Auntie's fault before, will you forgive Mingfan? Mingfan's younger brother is already like this, Mingfan can't be ruined again. It was only then that I learned why the car could be taken back, because Mingfan's younger brother was convicted of hit and run and sentenced to 10 years, and the Ji family also carried a huge debt. The girls he met for marriage heard about this, and they ran faster than rabbits. At this time, Ji Mingfan suddenly knelt down, Zhao Yang, please pity me, forgive me, okay? I will live broadcast to apologize to you, okay? I now understand that in this world, only you don't dislike me, I only have you. I stepped back, flicked the place where he touched on my leg, frowned, and said, you said the wrong thing. There is no one in this world who doesn't dislike you. After that, I stopped a passing taxi and ran away. Leave Ji Mingfan crying in place. Jiang Li said that with Ji Mingfan's habits, He will definitely come to me again, let me be prepared early. I smiled, thanked Jiang Li, and said goodbye, and took the train back to my hometown that afternoon. Today, with high-speed trains so developed, I still bought a ticket for the green train, which is the same as the train I took when I first left my hometown to this big city. Mom is in the hometown, and I will also be in the hometown. Thanks to my mom, Jiang Li helped me win the lawsuit, and now I am a little rich woman with some property. I plan to open a welfare house in my hometown, using the power of society to help more and more orphans grow up. Mom once said, leaving the wrong road can only step towards the right direction. The train whistle is melodious and pleasant. I looked at the window, and my appearance was reflected on the glass, and I seemed to see my young self, eager to go for love, and give my heart to others. I gently traced my outline through the glass, and whispered to the window, "You are not wrong, the one who is wrong is the one who fails others."